What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Everything Crypto Show. Now, in today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the top 3 altcoins that I am expecting to make some big moves before the end of May. I do like to do these videos once or twice a month that are talking about altcoins on shorter time frames, because although our portfolio is set up for the long term, I do have a separate trading portfolio, and that is basically only revolving around short-term narratives and coins that I am expecting to outperform the general markets in the near term. So there are 3 coins in particular that I am expecting to see a pretty strong move from before the end of the month, and that's what I want to break down in today's video, as well as talk about the actual catalysts behind these moves that I am expecting. And before we do get into this top 3 list, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor, nor do I offer any sort of financial advice on YouTube. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. And if you find the videos informative, entertaining, maybe even both, please consider hitting that sub and like button and turn that notification bell on so you can be notified when all of our latest videos go live on the channel. Anyways, moving in to spot number 3. The first coin I want to talk about today is Render. And Render, if you've been with the channel, you know that this has been my favorite AI altcoin since last year. And if we actually mark its performance from the beginning of 2023, this coin has been a really impressive performer, from 40 cents, currently sitting at about $10.23. That is a move of 2,800%. And this coin has now made its way into the top 25 by market cap, but only sitting at 3.98 billion. And when I say only, I mean that's a big market cap, but it still has plenty of room to grow with the market that it's trying to address. So the Render network essentially is a decentralized GPU fleet that allows people to lend out their extra GPU power, and then these people are paid in Render tokens. It is essentially a blockchain marketplace for idle GPU compute. And initially it was actually kind of created for content creation, and now they have actually moved in to using this rendering power for AI tasks, for large language models, and they have been forming a lot of different partnerships and collaborations around these new AI use cases. We know that AI has been a massive story in the markets, not just in the crypto market, also in the traditional finance market. Okay, just take a look at Nvidia, which is up, 665% from its October 2022 bottom, sitting at a $2.27 trillion market cap. This has been one of the biggest stories in the market over the past year and a half. And I do actually believe that the 2 big catalysts for Render in the short term, number 1 is the NVIDIA conference call that is going to be coming on the 22nd, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it is the 22nd of the month. Yeah, there we go. So scheduled for May 22nd. Now take a look at what happened back in January of 2024. I remember this vividly because NVIDIA beat on earnings. And when they actually beat on earnings, we also saw a massive rally for the AI coins, including Render. So you can take a look in January, when the earnings call was announced, it was at like $3.97, $4.28, and boom, you can see this thing went all the way from, $4 in late January to $13 by March. Okay, so it over tripled basically. And I do remember the NVIDIA earnings coming in as a beat, and NVIDIA rallied massively, and Render did move in sympathy with the NVIDIA beat. So looking for NVIDIA to beat once again on this earnings call and hopefully see Render make a nice move up with it. Now, the second catalyst that I see for Render is the Apple WWDC conference, which a lot of people are expecting them to reveal their AI strategy, and I do think it makes a lot of sense. You know what? Apple has The Apple stock itself has not been like the greatest performer recently, and I do think it makes sense for them to really show off some AI stuff here and get people hyped up again and potentially buying the stock. And we actually know here from this new trailer, we discussed this last week on the channel, how Octane X was featured in Apple's keynote presentation. Okay, so if we actually take a look here at the presentation and pause it right here, okay, this is Octane X, okay, and you might notice the render logo right there and right there on that cherry. Octane X is in fact powered by the Render network, okay? It is the product from ALTCOINS, the parent company of Render, and Apple just showed off their iPad trailer for millions of people to watch, showcasing the power of the Render network right there. So I know that Render did also move in anticipation of Apple's WWDC event last year, and I think that a similar move will take place. This event is happening in early June. Now, I want to get into spot number 2, and this is going to go to Crowcoin. And I know that I cover this altcoin, semi-frequently on the channel, but there is a reason that I am specifically covering it in this video and expecting it to rally into the month of June. And the big reason is the Cronos Layer 2, or the Cronos Hyperchain, that is set to launch in June of 2024. So this is the tweet that they launched. They say, "We are gearing up to launch Cronos ZK EVM as a zero-knowledge Layer 2 blockchain on top of Ethereum mainnet." And they break down exactly what this means in the light paper. And there are 3 things they are trying to respond to in terms of DeFi challenges. So number 1, shared liquidity, yield-bearing assets, and native account abstraction. So just a couple of infographics to show you what this would look like. Okay, once the Cronos Hyperchain launches, you are going to have the Cronos POS chain, which acts as the Layer 0. That is where everybody stakes their Crow for that passive income. Not everybody, but a decent amount, actually. If we actually take a look at the Cronos POS chain, I think it's like over 30, it's over a third of the supply. Yeah, it's 9.72 billion Crow out of 26.5 in circulation is staked here, earning about a 7.5% yield. And then you have the Cronos EVM blockchain, the Layer 1. And now they are introducing the Cronos ZK EVM blockchain, the Layer 2, which is going to connect the Ethereum mainnet, other Layer 2s, and hyperchains all into the Cronos ecosystem. So really just building out the use cases and the demand for Crowcoin, the utility for Crowcoin, and hopefully the demand follows. Now, they talk about some of the certain pain points, the current pain points, when it comes to DeFi in terms of getting that mass adoption. Number 1 would be liquidity fragmentation. So many different Layer 1s, so many different dApps, Layer 2s, and they're looking to solve this through shared liquidity, through trustless validating bridges for seamless connectivity and unified liquidity. Number 2, complexity and yield generation. And what they're looking to offer is native yield-bearing assets. So rebasing tokens that are automatically accruing yield. And to me, this sounds super interesting. So basically, just simply by actually holding your tokens on the ZK EVM blockchain, you are going to be generating that yield. So, basically you deposit Crow from the Layer 0, and then you deposit it to the you move it over to the Cronos Layer 2, and you are receiving ZK Crow on the other end, and this is automatically generating yield. You do not have to liquid stake it yourself. It is being liquid staked for you on the back end. Same thing with stablecoins, same thing with ETH as well. So yeah, lots of different cool things, but the fact that you can basically get paid simply for holding your coins on a Layer 2 is a very unique concept, and one that I think could benefit this project a lot. And then complex UX, so looking to implement native account abstraction, smart accounts, creating a butter smooth UX. So I'm assuming this means that the front end will be much more streamlined, and on the back end, they will take care of, signing transactions and all that kind of stuff. So this is set to launch in June. I do think that we could see this altcoin run into the release of the hyperchain. How it does past the launch, we will have to see, but just based on the narrative and the hype, I do think this has the potential to make a nice move, as I think that it's flown under the radar for most people. Now, moving on to spot number 1, and yes, this is going to be a more boring one today, and it's going to be Ethereum, okay? Now, the reason I'm talking about Ethereum specifically, though, again, we said that, this is based on time and not necessarily, the fundamentals and this and that. And the one thing I'm seeing here with Ether is that it has come back down to test its bull market support band, where it has not actually, even touched since like October of 2023, and more recently it was bouncing off of it in April, but it has now come down. We see the candle sitting right here at its bull market support band, and what I'm really looking for Ether to do here is to hold it as support. Okay, we have a very tough area of resistance at about $3,500. This is where it got rejected in April of 2022 before that capitulation, and this is, it got rejected at about 36 here in March after trying to run all the way up and touching over 4K. And just generally speaking, sentiment around Ethereum is pretty low right now. I mean, take a look at the Bitcoin Ether valuation. This thing looks like dog crap. It's just still falling continuously. People are bearish on ETH. And yeah, I mean, we've seen this before in previous cycles, okay? Everyone says that, there's a new shiny layer 1 in town that's going to take Ether. It's going to take market share. Ether's not going to perform well. You always have the Bitcoin versus Ether comparisons, which are fair enough in this respect, because from about December of 2021, I mean, Ether's down like 48% versus Bitcoin, okay? So I do acknowledge that Ether has been an underperformer. There is no denying that. However, I do also think that Ethereum could be set to surprise people and outperform. And if we take a look at this long-term trend line here, it is actually bouncing off of it at the moment. So we will see if this holds or if it breaks. But I do think that even if Ether does underperform the market for a little bit longer here, that over the long run, and moving into the latter half or for the duration of the bull run anyways, I do think at some point we see Ether step up and outperform Bitcoin and show a lot of strength relative to the altcoin market. And that is why this is coming in at spot number 1 on my list. So on that note, I hope you did enjoy the content in today's video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below about my choices. And yeah, I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.